Hey friends, we are gonna get started with some core strengthening to turn up the heat, and then we'll cool it down real nice like with some self-massage against the wall. So you're gonna need 2 therapy balls, whether that's your racket balls, your tennis balls, yoga tune-up balls, pinky balls, whatever. Just please no golf balls or lacrosse balls. We want the therapy balls to be soft because we're soft. You'll also probably want a blanket or a pillow on hand for some of the core strengthening. So let's get started. Come on down to the ground. Spread your fingers wide, put your hands on the mat, shoulder width apart. You want to be able to see the color of your mat between each finger, and then turn your elbow creases to point in the same direction as your middle fingers. Try to keep that orientation there. So let's just tune in with where your spine is at now. So we don't want to be like too relaxed with the belly button sagging down towards the ground or the low ribs sagging down towards the ground. We want to be in a nice neutral spine so that the rib cage is shining right towards the pelvis. And let's keep the rib cage settled and start out with some pelvic tilts. So you're going to be tucking the tailbone under and lifting the tailbone towards the ceiling. And we're going to sync it up with the breath. As you inhale, lift your tailbone towards the ceiling. As you exhale, pull the navel towards the spine, tailbone tucks under. Inhale, tailbone lifts. Exhale, tailbone under. So this is not cat-cow like in a yoga class. So we're keeping the upper spine and the rib cage in a neutral position and just tilting the pelvis in conjunction with the breath. Warming up the belly. Last one here. Great. So come to neutral with your pelvis so you're not overly lifting the tailbone, not overly tucked, right in the middle. And from here, step your left foot back and step your right foot back, coming into a plank position. So you should be able to feel your belly engaging here to support you. And you should be able to breathe while your belly is engaged. That's why I'm able to talk to you while I'm doing my plank here. I have trouble just standing still in plank. I like to bounce around a little bit. So if you like to bounce around, you bounce. If not, stay put. Keep breathing. You feel some quaking and shaking, that's good. We're just turning the heat up here. If this feels too challenging or you notice that your hips are sagging towards the ground, just drop your knees so that your knees are behind your hips. Here we go, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and drop your knees, and then we're going to transfer onto the back. And here's where you might want your blanket or your pillow. So come on down to your back and start with your knees bent. Now, when you have your knees bent on the ground here, notice what your rib cage is doing. If your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage is kind of angling up towards the ceiling like mine is, you're going to want to put a blanket underneath your shoulders and head. So that was too high. So right about here. Okay. So this is kind of letting the front of my rib cage mellow out a little bit more, getting me set up for a really nice neutral core. And then we're going to come into neutral pelvis. So that is your ASIS, which is that bony hip point, the front of your pelvis there, and your pubic bone. And we want those to be in a level line. So if you have some soft tissue, extra soft tissue down here that, you know, it's not going to be level. You have to think about, where are my bones? What is my actual structure? And, you know, you're going to have to just tune in a little bit deeper so that you're making sure that you're in that good alignment, or the alignment that we want for today. So pubic bone and hip points in a line. And then you're going to bring the toes together and put your arms down by your sides. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, draw your navel down towards your spine. As you inhale, let your belly expand. And as you exhale, pull your navel to your spine. Last one like this. Now we're going to add some work with the legs. So inhale, expand, and as you exhale, press the ankles, the knees, and the thighs all in towards the middle as your navel moves down towards your spine. Inhale to relax. And exhale, squeeze and draw in. Inhale. Now, as you're drawing in, make sure that you're not losing the tilt of your pelvis. You want that neutral tilt. Last one. Great. So from here, separate your feet about hip distance apart. Now, if you can keep your core engaged, your navel pulled down towards your spine, you don't see or feel your belly pushing out or bulging out with the work, then that's what we're looking for. So if you can keep everything stable here and you can easily lift one leg at a time, cool. See if you can then bring your feet back together and lift your legs up. Now, if when you go to lift your legs up, you feel your pelvis kind of get disturbed and a little wonky, or you feel your belly bulging out, then I'd like for you to try a few things. One thing you can do is just lightly rest your toes on the ground. If that is still too challenging for where your core is today, then just keep both feet on the ground in this level 1 starting position. Okay, so whichever position you're in, flat feet, toes down, or calling this hook lie, where your feet are up and your knees are over your hips. There's 90 degrees in your knees. Go ahead and stay there wherever you're at, and then take a breath in, and as you exhale, draw your navel to your spine. Inhale and exhale, navel to spine. So we're gonna let our lower half be stable here and move our arms. So without disturbing your rib cage or your spine, you're gonna start to move your arms forward and backward, one up as the other one goes down. And try to keep your lower half stable. So it's gonna be a little bit easier to maintain your stability if your movement is slow with the arms and controlled. If you go a little bit faster though, it is a little bit more challenging to maintain your stability. So you figure that out for yourself. Which one feels like a good fit for you today? And we're gonna keep going here. The exhales, the navel is pulling in towards the spine. The neck is relaxed. The jaw is relaxed. For 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Give your knees a hug. And we're gonna roll over to one side and sit back up again. Here, sit on your sit bones and have your feet out in front of you. So Again, you can do this with your toes lightly on the ground, or you can kick it up by really literally kicking it up, kicking your legs up off the ground. So we want to find that neutral pelvis again. So we're not schlumped here, and we're also not, I mean, I don't know if I could even do the opposite in this position. And then the rib cage, so we're not overly rounded here, and we're also not thrusting the ribs forward. We want the opening of the rib cage to be shining down on the opening of the pelvis, so that if you imagine that your core, is like a tube or a hose, you don't want any kinks in the hose for the purposes of this today. Okay, so you might start with your fingertips behind you and play around with lifting your legs. Maybe you need to keep your hands behind you, and maybe you just play around with lifting one leg at a time. Okay? Whatever feels like a challenge for you is going to be good. Okay? So then I'm going to go ahead and lift both legs up, and I'm feeling ready to lift my arms today. Another day it might be different. So take a deep breath in and feel your ribs expand, and as you exhale, draw your navel towards your spine. Inhale, expand, and exhale, navel to spine. So again, if you're feeling your belly bulging out, that's a sign that your muscles in your abdomen and your core are not maintaining the added pressure that we're putting on that system right here. And that means you need to back it off a little bit. 3, 2, and 1. Flip back forward into all fours. Fingers wide, pelvic tilts. Inhale, lift your sit bones. Exhale, tailbone under, navel to spine. As you inhale, really let the belly expand. Let it have a bit of a stretch here. Last one. Okay, coming back to neutral. Okay, again, we're gonna take one leg out behind us. Oh, hello, blanket. I'm gonna scoot my blanket back. Take one foot out behind you and the other foot out behind you. Again, this can be done in a low plank with your knees down, okay? It's up to you. I'll start out this way to show you. So we're gonna add some leg movement here. So we're gonna take the left knee towards the left shoulder and come back, and then the right knee towards the right shoulder and come back. And then the left leg goes out and taps back in, and the right leg goes out at 45 and taps back in. So if you're in high plank, it's gonna look like this. Left knee to elbow, right knee to elbow. Left foot taps out, right foot taps out. And so you can go as slowly or as quickly as you like. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say, if your knee doesn't make it all the way to your elbow, I don't care. Mine don't go up there. I feel like I have to really crunch a lot through my hips to get my elbows and my knees to touch. So sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So I don't think you should have to worry about it too much. I think I just skipped something. If you need to take a break and jump back in. For 3, 2, and 1. Drop your knees. Hello, warmth. Okay. Come all the way down to your belly. So Your core is not just your tummy. It's your back, it's your hips, it's your pelvic floor, it's your diaphragm. It's all the things. And it's muscles in your back. So that's what we're going to get to right now. So just take a moment with your head resting on the backs of your hands to catch your breath. Feel your body breathing. And now we're going to get ready to move with the breath. You're going to need enough room to have your arms extended out in front of you. So I'm going to shift a little. So take your arms out in front of you and take a deep breath in to prepare. And as you exhale, lift your right arm, left leg. Your chest and head are going to lift a bit too here. And then the inhale brings it back down. Exhale, switching to the other side, left arm, right leg. Inhale to release. So you're going to go from side to side, trying to hug your spine and pelvis into this neutral midline area instead of, as you lift up to one side, kind of letting things get disturbed or displaced. We want to lock it in. Using the breath to help you lift on your exhale. Now we're going to add on to this. So the next time you get your right arm and your left leg up, join me here. Let's hang out for a moment. So imagining that you have a line going from the center of your head, the crown of your head, all the way through your spine, coming all the way out your tail. Okay, that's your midline. So you're going to pulse. You're going to hug your right hand and your left leg in towards that midline twice. And you're going to do a 2 quick breaths. And then inhale to come down. Exhale, lift the left arm and the right leg. And then you can take a little baby sip in of air. And you go pulse in towards the midline. Inhale to relax. Exhale, lift it up. Now, as you do your 2 forceful exhales with the pulse, hopefully you're feeling your tummy, your navel moving back towards your spine as you do those 2 pulses with the quick breath out. So it's inhale to relax, exhale to lift, baby breath in, and pulse. Inhale to relax. Exhale to lift. Baby breath in and pulse. So keep going like that at the pace of your own breath. One more each side. And relax. Make a pillow with your hands. Breathe. Relax your tush. Relax your tummy. Now come up onto your forearms and let your tummy relax. Give your tummy a little stretch here. Great. Now let's come back up to all fours. So curl your toes under. And if you want bonus points, you just hover right here in a forearm plank for just a moment until you get all the way up to all fours. The bonus points are arbitrary. I mean, what are you really going to do with bonus points from a video? Really? But good for you. I'm proud of you if you did it. Okay, so let's come back into our all fours position, and we're going to step it back into our plank again. So you can choose the low plank, which would be just the knees back a bit, or you can choose the high plank where you step one foot back and then the other. Now, for this one, bring your left knee towards your chest without disturbing the rest of your spine. And you're just going to quickly pendulum swing your left thigh from side to side. If you can, try keeping your elbow creases pointing forward in the same direction as your middle fingers. 3, 2, 1. Step your left foot back. If your knees are up and you need a break, drop them for a minute. I'm going to take a break. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Other side. Okay, here we go. Right knee towards the chest without disrupting the spine and the ribs. Pendulum swing. Move that leg back and forth pretty fast, trying to keep the rest of your body stable. So your shoulders aren't shifting to oppose the movement. Your shoulders or hips aren't shifting to oppose the movement of the leg. Three, 2, and 1. Get off your hands. Shake out your hands. Okay, going back to the back again. Here we go. Again, I invite you to use your blanket under your shoulders and head or your pillow so that you can maintain that unkinked neutral core tube. Okay. Woo, I'm out of breath, are you? Here we go. Find your neutral pelvis. So ASIS, that pointy front part of the pelvis, and pubic bone are level. It might not actually look level from the outside, depending on your soft tissue situation, so you have to think deeper. Think about your bones and where they are. You can even touch, okay? So coming into that neutral pelvis, arms down by your sides. So let's start simple, easy. If you had trouble with that hook lie with both legs up before, you're going to want to start here. And that's just going to be right heel forward, left heel forward. Now, what you want to keep aware of is what is happening with the rest of my torso. When I stick my leg forward, do my ribs try to fly up towards the ceiling? Does my pelvis change tilt? Okay, so if this feels doable, if you'd like to choose to try kind of the next level up, come up to your hook lie position with both feet up in the air, okay? And then you're gonna do right heel, left heel, right heel, left heel. And you know, if you're back in that level 1 and reaching the heel towards the front of the mat, still feels too challenging, just reach it halfway forward. Okay? Same thing if you're here in hook lie. If reaching for the front of the mat feels too challenging, then just come halfway. Just tap your heel straight down. Okay? Again, checking in with the belly. Is your belly doming or bulging outward because of the pressure? If so, back it off. For 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Give your knees a hug. Maybe do some rocking from side to side. And if you want to rock up to your seat, you can rock up or you can roll over to one side and sit up. Whatever works for you. We're going to come back into all fours. This is our last core strength exercise, and then you get a massage. So come back to tabletop, all fours here. Spread your fingers wide. I'm going to get some rotational strength here now. So we're going to pick up the right hand away from the ground by lifting the right side of the rib cage up towards the ceiling. Okay, so it's effectively an upper twist here. And then you put it back down. So you're going to take a breath in to prepare. As you exhale, lift the right hand. Inhale to release. Exhale to lift. Keep going. Now, cheating would be leaning to the left in order to get your right hand up. Don't cheat. Keep your table stable and just lift the right hand by lifting the right side of the rib cage up towards the ceiling. So ideally, you'd go until you're fatigued, until your muscles are fatigued. I don't know what that is for you, but it's going to be different for all of us probably. So we'll stop here. Last one. Take a breath in and out. And let's do the other side. So you're going to lift your left hand by lifting the left side of the rib cage up towards the ceiling. Here we go. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to lift. Now, as you're going here, some other alignment points to check in with would be, can you keep your right elbow crease pointing forward? And are your shoulders staying stacked, your hips staying stacked, or is your whole body kind of leaning out to the side to get that hand up off the ground? For 3, 2, and 1. If you need to get off your hands, take a break, you can. We're going to do the same thing now with the lower body. Okay, so to get your right knee up off the ground, you're going to have to lift the right side of your pelvis, your right buttock, if you will, up towards the ceiling. Okay, so it's going to look like this. And if your wrists are bothering you and you can't do palms on the mat anymore, switch to your fists. That's fine. Okay, because we're focusing the juice here along the spine right now. And while it's all connected, there's only so much you can do, right? Okay, so here we go. Take a breath in to prepare. And then as you exhale, the right hip lifts towards the ceiling to get the right knee off the ground. Inhale, put that knee down. Exhale to lift. So go at the pace of your own breath, and you can look back at your left knee and hip as you lift the right side up. Make sure that you aren't leaning over to the left. Okay, try to keep your table stable here. How's your neck? How's your jaw? Can you relax those? Are they trying to help? For 3, 2, and 1. Get off your hands. Shake out your wrists. This is the last thing, and then you get a massage. Coming back to all fours, hands down or fists down. Take a breath in to prepare, and then as you exhale, left side of the pelvis lifts up towards the ceiling to lift the left knee up. Inhale to release. Exhale to lift. Making sure that you're not shifting your hips over to the right in order to get your left knee up. This side is more challenging for me to connect to, so I'm gonna hush up so I can focus. For 3, 2, and 1. You did it. Proud of you. Okay, it's time for a massage. So I'm gonna move this blanket out of the way. You're gonna need access to a wall. And here's my racket balls. So again, you can use tennis balls or some other thing that you have. I just don't recommend golf balls or lacrosse balls that are hard. So we're gonna start out by pinning the ball between our body and the wall. So the ball is gonna be in between the shoulder blade and the spine. One on each side of the spine. Okay. So I just instinctively walk my feet a little bit further away from the wall because I like a little bit more pressure. And so if you want more pressure, you too can walk your feet further away from the wall, and that way you're kind of leaning more into the therapy balls. But if you want less pressure, keep your feet closer to the wall. So just start out and give yourself a big hug. I can't hug myself as well as I would like because I'll bump my microphone, which I'm probably already doing, but oh well. See, so that's bound to happen. You're bound to lose a ball. It's gonna go somewhere. That's okay. Just hunt it down, chase after it, and jump right back in. Hugging ourselves, and you can kind of rock a little bit from side to side. So the balls are moving side to side in between the shoulder blades and the spine right now. And go ahead and switch and put the other arm on top. You can really get juicy with it if you want to, or you can just keep it straight, okay? Whatever works for you. I want you to imagine that you are an explorer or a scientist. You have this curiosity about you for this self-massage portion of our class today. The curiosity is going to drive you to stay mindful and I wonder what happens when I tweak this move this way, or what happens when I do this? How does that change the pressure or the sensation? So be curious as you go today. So let's change it up a little bit. You might have your balls kind of higher up towards your shoulders. So this is going to be a small movement at first. You're just going to bend your knees a little bit. So now the balls are going up and down, up and down. Okay. Hopefully getting at those knotty tight spots in the upper back. If you find a spot that feels particularly interesting, why don't you just like hang out there for a second? Take a breath and let it out. And then you can keep going. Play around with moving your arms up and down. What happens to the sensation as I move my arms up and down? Can you feel the muscles kind of jumping or moving underneath the pressure of the ball? What happens if you do some, what are these called? Shoulder rolls. How does it feel when you do shoulder rolls? So we want it to hurt so good. If it really hurts, then you're going to need to back it off a little bit because that'll be counterproductive. Okay. So now go ahead and walk your feet back to the wall. Put your hands behind you and try to catch your balls as you lean your torso forward. Okay, now this time we're going to move the balls a little bit further down. So I want you to imagine or find, maybe you can feel where the bottom point of your shoulder blade is. And we want to go just below that. So it's kind of like the bra strap area where your bra is, if you wear one. And you're going to, again, put a ball on either side of the spine and pin it up against the wall. And then you can walk your feet a little bit further away. Now, as we do this, your therapy balls might start to move apart. And so you'll have to just pay attention to that and just bring them back into your starting position if they go astray. So with your feet a little wider than your hips, you're going to start to bend and extend your knees. You should feel the therapy balls rolling up and down your back on either side of your spine. So the more you bend your knees, the higher the balls are going to go. And then if you just bend them a little bit and come into like a little baby squat, the balls are going to move less. So play around with that. And now last one before we move the therapy balls again. Okay, catch them, catch your balls. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to take the balls and we're going to put them, if you can feel where the bottom of your rib cage is, we kind of want to put the therapy balls just about at that level. Again, one on either side of the spine. Okay, and so again, if you want more pressure, walk your feet a little bit further away. And here, kind of let your upper body slump forward a little bit. And then you can rock a little from side to side. So I'm bending one knee as the other knee extends. And the balls are going from side to side. Again, if they go too far apart, just pause, reset, and get back to it. You can play around with how does the sensation change if I slump way far forward? How does it change if I'm more upright? Okay. Okay, let's just move them down just a little bit, okay? So we're kind of in low back territory. My pelvis is right here, so we're kind of halfway between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis. Okay, and so again here, we're going to bend and extend the legs. If your therapy balls separate and go astray, just stop and reset. So after you've gone up and down with the therapy balls a few times, here in this lower back area, you can do that side to side movement again. So you kind of lean your torso forward, your shoulders forward a little bit away from the wall, and you bend one knee as you extend the other leg. Okay, now we're gonna take that right down to the ridge of the pelvis, just above the pelvis. So we're still in the lower back. And you're gonna do your shifting from side to side. Bend one knee as the opposite leg straightens and go back and forth. And the balls are gonna move side to side. If they separate, just bring them back together. If you want to give a big sigh, let it out. Okay, now let's get down into the hips. So here you want to put the balls right up at that, wherever your buttocks starts to get fleshy, okay? Right below the top rim of the pelvis. And here, you're gonna sway your hips from side to side. So you're gonna tune in to your inner Shakira, Ricky Martin, you know, whoever you identify with more. And this is one where this motion of the hips is really gonna cause the therapy balls to separate. So every few swishes of your hips, you're gonna have to stop and scoot things back in. So you might find that you would like to take the therapy balls down a little bit lower so they're in more of the fleshy part of your buttocks as opposed to just the top part of the buttocks. You can, again, explore. Okay, and we're going to take this to one side. So put your hands back there and grab the ball that was on the right, and you're gonna turn to your left. So let me show you where the ball is gonna end up. So if you can find the top of your pelvis on your left side, and if you can find your hip joint where your thigh bone goes into your pelvis, in between those 2 points is some muscle, and that's where we want the ball to go. Okay, so you're gonna be pinning the ball in between your side and the wall. So again, you can choose how far you want your feet away from the wall. That's gonna still make it more pressure. The further your feet are from the wall, the more pressure you're gonna feel. Okay, and so you can kind of rock or swivel your hips a little bit, and that's gonna make the ball go this way, forward and back. You can also just plant and hold. This can be kind of a gnarly spot. Typically, the muscles here tend to be on the weaker side due to our kind of sedentary lives. So if it feels too intense, remember, walk your feet back towards the wall. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do here is to bend your left knee. So that's the side that you're working on. And then you're going to point your knee away from the wall and towards the wall. Away from the wall and towards the wall. So you're internally rotating your thigh and externally rotating your thigh. And you should feel those muscles there under the ball kind of jumping or reacting as you move in this way. Okay, let's go to the other side. So again, you're gonna find the top rim of the pelvis, and where the thigh bone enters the pelvis, the hip joint. And in between those 2 points is some squishy muscle. Okay. And then you can rock. You can just plant and hold if you prefer. You can take a deep breath. And then go ahead and pop your knee up on that right foot, right leg, and you can point your knee away from the wall and towards the wall. So you're internally rotating and externally rotating, going back and forth, and just observing how the muscle reacts. Can you feel the movement of the muscle? And go ahead and stop, release that. Hopefully you're feeling good. Let's just do one last stretch to end it out here. So come back down to your back. Knees bent. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And if you feel a stretch in the outer right hip, stay put. Otherwise, pick up your left foot. You can reach your hands through and clasp on the top of the left shin or the back of the thigh. Relax your bottom, relax your belly. Enjoy your breath. And let's switch. Before you go to the other side, pause for a breath. Left ankle over the right thigh. Do you feel a stretch? If so, think it's good enough, you want to stay there. If you want a little bit more sensation, right foot lifts. And you can interlace on the top of the right shin or the back of the right thigh. Soften your face. Relax your jaw. And release your feet to the ground. So to finish up, if you're comfortable with your knees bent and your feet on the ground, stay there. If you would prefer to extend your legs, do that. Whichever is your choice, put your hands on your tummy. I'm gonna let my knees rest in towards one another. And just feel your breath in your belly for a moment. Let your hands feel how your body moves when you breathe. Now, what I'm about to offer might be, for you, the most challenging part of class. It might not be, but it very well could be. So I want you to think about somebody that you love. This could be a partner, a family member, a child, a friend. Just think of someone that you love deeply. Feel that feeling of love. And now let that feeling of love get concentrated into your hands. Like if you could just put your hands on this loved one's shoulder and let them know just by your touch how much you love them. And if they could just feel your love in the quality of your touch, that's what we want. We want your hands to be filled with that loving kindness and compassion and care. And then you're gonna just turn that back to yourself. So with your hands on your belly, you're giving your belly that same love, that same care, that same kindness that you would give to a loved one or a friend. It can be so hard to love our bodies just the way they are, and especially our bellies. But your belly worked really hard just now. Not that it needs to work hard to deserve your love and kindness, but if that helps you for now to conjure up that feeling of love and compassion and kindness towards your belly, then use that right now. Maybe give your belly a little rub. You know how when you're finishing up a hug, you sometimes give a little rub on the back or a little pat on the back. You can do that to your belly. Okay, let's go ahead and roll over and sit up. How you feel? I hope you feel so good. Thank you for joining me. I'm so proud of you for taking this time for yourself on the mat today, and I'll see you next time.